Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today, I have one heck of an interesting subscriber interview to share with you. Before we jump into it, a couple links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It doesn't cost a cent. Click the like button. Takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads I put out daily, click that bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all of these things really do help the channel to continue to grow and go. Yes, folks, they definitely do matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump into today's interview, shall we? All right, everybody. Tonight I have a subscriber who goes by the name of Inquisitive Southern Woman. You may have seen her in the comment section. I also narrated her terrifying encounter that she sent me about a week and a half to 2 weeks ago. I'm glad to have her on. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for taking time out of your day. I appreciate that.
No problem.
So pretty much what I do is I don't direct the show. I just leave it up to you. It's you and I are having a conversation. And
Yeah.
so let's start with how the encounter went down.
Okay. I've been able to narrow it down to like January or February of 2010. My job had me going to work at different hours of the very early morning, and it varied slightly every day. So the morning before the encounter, I was going, this is in Poinsett County, Arkansas, and I was going to Jonesboro, Arkansas, down I-555. And I come up on an overpass, and we had freezing fog warning, and there was a lot of cars. Some cars were rolled off down the ravine, and people were hitting their brakes, and the car in front of me was hitting the brake, and they were sliding. Every time I hit my brake, I would start sliding, and it was just cars all over off the road, and I very narrowly escaped being hit. So what I decided the next morning on the very early news, I saw we had another freezing warning. So I decided to take, once I came over what they call the floodways, which is, it's like bridge and then regular road that goes over these bodies of water. And they call it floodways because they have it done that way so that the town would no longer flood, the town of Marked Tree. And so I went over that, but I decided as I went north on I-555, I decided to get off of the exit ramp of Painway, Arkansas. And I got off there so I could go on the old road, they call it. It's 463. And so I got off of the exit, went over the overpass, and started going down 463, going north. And So there's like, very few houses. There's a little small community to the left. There's like a single line of trees on the right side of the road. If you look on Google Maps, you'll see it when like summertime or something, and how the leaves and the foliage, makes it where you can't see through it on some spots. But it's really not a wooded area in that particular spot. There's a field to the left and like a single house. Once every so often, there is a little community of houses down this little gravel road that goes off of 463. But I passed all of this, and right when I come up, it was in a clearing where there wasn't any houses around, and it was just to my left was nothing but a field, and there wasn't planted anything there because it was wintertime. And then the trees on the right-hand side. Well, as I was going along, I started seeing a yellow flashing light, and I could tell that it was a vehicle there with its caution lights going. And so my first thought, I started thinking to myself, oh no, because my worry was like it would be some stranger I didn't know, and they would step out in the road and make me stop, and and here it was kind of deserted. There wasn't any cars around anywhere. So I was worried about that because I didn't know who I would be dealing with.
Right.
And I thought I was going to have to be made to stop. And that made me nervous. But this was like when I very first could tell what was going on, when I first saw it, which was quite a far ways back. So I'm driving along, and it's not really a shoulder on that road, especially on that side. And so they're pretty much in the road, not up to the yellow line, but almost, they're blocking that lane, the opposite lane of me. It's just a 2-lane highway. So when I was coming up to it, I'm not good with distance. So I'm going to guess 5 car lengths, maybe.
Okay.
I started seeing 2 legs. And automatically I knew it was dog legs in the flashing yellow. And you know how it flashed, and it was really bright. The caution lights were really, really bright because it was really dark. And so I was seeing it moving like really fast, not like a regular dog moves. And it confused me. And I could see it go to the passenger side of that car. I saw, and that's basically all I was looking at that time, was the legs, because I kept thinking to myself, where are the other legs? What is this? And so I thought maybe some person was dragging a dog around or something. I wasn't quite sure. And so as I got up there, I was looking, I was like, there's nobody around. The lights made it, as I was getting closer, made it where I could see inside the car. I'm not for sure, but I think there might have been a car light on inside the car. I'm not 100% sure, but sorry, excuse me. There was something that told me that there wasn't anybody in the car, and then as I was looking, there wasn't anybody around it. This was happening pretty fast.
Okay.
And then when I got up almost to the car, this thing ran around to the front of the car and right up to the yellow line, like right up to me. All I remember seeing in that yellow flashing in my headlights really fast. As I remember being real tall and the chest of a man. It was hairy, but it was like built up like a muscled man and shoulders, and it had a wolf's head. And my first thought was, what in the world? A werewolf. And I just stomped on the accelerator and I was going real fast. And as I was going, what the heck? That was a freaking werewolf. I mean, I was like, no way. I just saw a werewolf. And I was like, he was trying to catch somebody. And I was like, no, wait a minute. No, he wasn't. There wasn't anybody around. Because I was thinking about calling the police for help. And I thought, and say, what, a werewolf is chasing somebody? I was like, no, but he acted like it was chasing somebody. The way it was going around the car, right, like around to the back and then back around. And like I said, I wasn't even paying attention to look up or anything. And I stomped on the accelerator, and I don't even remember there is an on-ramp on down the road a couple miles to get on the interstate, back on the interstate. And I don't even remember doing any of that. The only thing I remember doing was talking to myself out loud and saying, coming up to the car, before I saw it come around like that, come up to me or to my car, I felt this dread and felt scared, and I didn't understand that. And I was like, yeah, I was nervous about, somebody coming up making me stop. Didn't know what was going on, but when I got close to it, something changed. It was like an irrational fear, right, until it come around. Then I was like, that's what I was scared of, Yeah.
So
and
really quick, prior to you, so as you're coming up to this thing and
yes,
you pass it, you realize what you're looking at. As you pass
yes,
it and you realize this has a wolf head,
yes,
does it make eye contact with you? Is it looking at you, or is it, and do you see any eye shine? Is there a color to the eye? Anything that you notice there?
I didn't see the eyes. It was so, when it decided to come up around there, and it was really fast, and it did just stand there. It didn't like grab the car or anything, but I was right almost even with the front of the car, the other car. So really all it was an outline, except for the chest. The chest part, the flashers caught, and that's what I saw lit up. And then it's like I looked, like bent my head down and looked up and saw like the outline of the head.
Okay.
Now, it wasn't looking down, it was looking straight ahead, but my first impression was it was coming around there to me.
Right.
And so I was very much panicking.
Oh, absolutely.
All the way to work. And I was shaking all over, and I had just called my husband the morning before to help calm me down for when I was almost in that pile up, because there were some cars that were wrecked together. They didn't just slide off the road.
You forgot collisions. To talk about that. The day before your encounter, there was you had some fog.
Yes.
Early morning fog. We forgot to talk about that. So prior to this, there was a pile up almost, right?
Yes. There was a car had flipped down off of the overpass. We call it the Nestle overpass because the Nestle factory is down there. But it's the overpass that's like going north. It's more north than the other ones are that go over these small roads, the interstate overpasses. And this particular one tended to freeze more than the other ones.
And because of that accident the morning before this, that's why you chose to take this route, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Definitely.
All right. So after you pass this, you get off the road there, and you pull over, and then what happens after you see this and you realize, hey, you called your husband, right?
Not when I saw the Dogman.
Okay.
Which I didn't know I'd never heard of a Dogman before. Okay. I just kept saying I saw a werewolf. I was thinking to myself and talking out loud to myself. I just kept saying it was a werewolf. But I didn't call him because my hands were gripped so tight on the steering wheel, and my foot was pushing the accelerator to the floor. And I could not let go of the steering wheel and keep going and getting as far away as fast as I could, all the way up to Jonesboro where I worked.
Okay.
So I didn't pull over anywhere.
Okay, you just drove right to work. Okay.
The morning before, after the pileup, I got off to the side of the road, and I called my husband and woke him up because it wasn't his time to get up for work yet, and I had to calm myself down then because of the almost wreck I was in.
That's right.
But so the next morning I was just, I'm sorry.
No, then you get to work, and what happens? So after you pass the creature, you're speeding to work. Let's start from right there again.
Okay. So I was really scared, and I had to, my job, I had to go to different locations at that time. And so I went to a few different locations in Jonesboro, and then I went to the primary place that I worked at the end of that and clocked out at about 9:30 or 9 or between 9 and 9:30 that morning, because that day was the day that I went to different places really early in the morning, and the hours varied slightly during the early morning work days.
Okay.
And sometimes I would get off at 9, 9:30, 10, or 10:30. And on those days, then there were days that I went to work and didn't have to be there till 8 a.m. So, it was a lot different then.
Right. Okay.
So I got to work, and I was just like, I wanted to say something to everybody that I saw, really, but I couldn't. I was like, there's no way I can tell people I just saw a werewolf. And the main thing that I had to talk myself down once I saw that and was gripping the steering wheel and getting out of there as fast as I could, is I really, really was worried about somebody else that maybe it was chasing. And then once I really thought about it, I was like, it's kind of like it was scrambling, didn't know where to go to hide, maybe.
Right.
That was a big thought of mine. And then whenever it's like it couldn't find anywhere to hide because it was all open out there, that's when I kind of felt like it thought, well, I'll just run around. Oh, well, just run around and get her or something. I don't know.
Okay.
That's the way I felt.
Right.
So when I got to work, I was real shaky and jittery, but I didn't say anything to anybody. And I didn't have time to call my husband to tell him what was going on. So when I got off work, I knew immediately I was going back down that road. It was broad daylight then. The sun was shining. It was really, really cold, but the sun was shining, and the way that it was positioned during that time of day, it wasn't in my eyes, but everything was really bright and lit up. When I got to that point, I just exited off and went back down 463. And as I was going, I didn't see a car anywhere in sight. And so I'm going along, and I start slowing down when I get almost to the area where the car was. And I scan out in the field, just looking around, see what I would see. And there it was. It was on all fours, walking really slow, like the opposite way of me. Like I'm on the highway and it's not parallel to me. Its tail was facing like my car. But it was about 15 to 20 car lengths maybe in the field. Not a whole lot of ways, you know.
Right.
So I'm slowing down. I look, and right when I look, I see it, and it's black. And it's kind of hard to explain this part. It turned its head to look right as I turned to look out that way and saw him. Like kind of high up a little bit. And when it turned its head, it was kind of against its shoulder. And whenever it looked at me, I knew it looked at me. Its face is, this is really hard to describe. His face kind of got animated. It's like it smirked at me.
Right.
You know, I didn't see any teeth and or anything like that, but I saw it pull its mouth with its mouth closed. Its right side, as it was turning to the right looking, it smirked, and I could tell it looked me right in the eyes. Now, seeing it in the eyes weren't black. It was daylight, but I could tell they were light, like maybe a light amber or something, a light yellow.
Okay.
Something, but it didn't reflect, but it was, you know, daytime. But it looked at me, and it was just the look it gave. It didn't just look at my car. And like I told my husband, when I got home, I was able to call him and tell him. And it was like it knew me. I kept telling him it knew who I was. It knew my car, and it knew it was me again. It knew. And I was like, but there wasn't any car around. I was like, where did the car go? And how's this werewolf? And how's it out in the middle of nowhere? And there's houses on down the way, you know. And so has anybody else been seeing this? I mean, I had so many questions.
Right.
And it was scary. I mean, I was trembling again when I saw it. But the way it looked at me, it let me know somehow that it wasn't going to come after me at that time.
But it knew that it was you that passed.
Yes,
Yep.
It did. It did. And as I was thinking about it yesterday, getting ready for the interview, I got to thinking that maybe it heard me, you know, with their big old huge ears, and might have a strong sense of smell. maybe it knew by the sound of the car. Maybe it could smell good enough to tell it was me, but it didn't look like it was sniffing or anything. It just looked like it turned and it just automatically knew who I was.
Right.
And I kept telling my husband it had some silver in it, but it's not like patches of silver, or silver kind of colored hair. It was like mixed in around the back half of it. When I saw it in the daylight, I could tell more about it. And from its head to where the tail starts, it was every bit of 7 foot.
Wow.
And then the tail was really long, and it had what do you call it? Like those dogs that have like a fan tail, like the hair comes down. And it wasn't up or anything. It was just kind of straight out.
Okay.
And it was walking like really slow. Just
now, when
really
it smirked at you, was it kind of like the German Shepherd smile? Like people say, like the German Shepherds can like kind of give you that smile that what they do with their mouth, like that.
I haven't seen that.
Okay.
I have to look that up and see. I just know it wasn't like a dog's mouth.
Right. It was just like a smile, like just, hey, I saw you, you saw me.
It was more sinister.
Okay.
It was kind of a sinister, half smirk, half smile.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was, I don't know if I had to guess what it was thinking, because it kind of like it was trying to let me know what it was thinking.
Right.
It was kind of like, I scared you, that's what I felt.
Okay. All right.
Immediately. And I kept, when I told my husband about this, I went on about it for months. Me, it knew who I was. It was like it was smirked at me, but it was laughing because of it. It's like its face, it was just more animated than a dog or a wolf's face would be.
Okay.
Even though it looked like a wolf, the head and everything, it like manipulated its face, that it was more intelligent than
so it showed a
than
lot
dog.
of intelligence during that time. Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
All right.
but sinister too.
Right.
Not in a good way at all.
Right.
I got a very bad. The hairs on my neck stood up again. I got that sense of dread and fear, and complete disbelief. And to this day, I can't, there's no way to find out, where that car went. Where was it during all that time?
Yeah. It's almost like the person in the car maybe stopped.
That's what I thought.
Just he stopped thinking, hey, what is this? It might have been on all fours, and maybe they were in the car and ducking down, trying to hide from this thing.
Oh, wow.
And maybe it was walking around the car to try to figure out how to get into the car instead of not really hiding on you, but like walking around the car. But,
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I didn't, because there for a long time I thought somebody was driving that car and they felt themselves turning into a werewolf, and they got out and turned into a werewolf. Because, like I said, all I knew was movies and stuff. I didn't know what a Dogman was.
Right, yeah. But then,
and here
you see it in the field and no car. So, yeah. But yeah, that'd be my guess, that the thing tried to kind of make that car stop to maybe get the guy out of the car, like they've been doing lately with like the teacher Brenda Hamilton and other people. but maybe they were hiding in the car and that thing was trying to get in somehow.
Oh gosh.
So then after you see this, you drive home, you tell your husband, but
Uh-huh.
you now occasionally do go down that road, sometimes looking for it.
Yes, yes, we do. We just went down it not too long ago. Not at night,
Right.
but yes, during the daytime. And I'm like, help me look out in this field, because see, it was wintertime, so there wasn't anything green out there. It wasn't grown up or anything. It was just like the field where it had been plowed up.
Yeah.
And but yes, sometimes we go down through there and go, I want to look for my werewolf. Well, now I'll say Dogman. Since I found your channel when I was searching on YouTube for real life werewolf encounters, and your channel come up and like Dogman, and I was like, that picture looks, the one with the long arms that you show, it's black and it's just a still picture of
Where
it.
he's by the water?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then your animated one, the brown, not the color, but the way it moves and everything.
Yeah.
That is pretty dead on.
Okay. Yeah. The
And I'm just
Dogman encounter right there that you had. You know, it's good thing.
I am so glad to know I'm not alone.
Yeah, there's a lot of you out there, and I'm one of them.
A lot.
So.
And you're one of them too?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So, well, it was amazing hearing your encounter. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day. Is there anything that you'd like to say to your fellow subscribers before we end the interview?
Oh, yeah. Hi, Dogman community. And thank y'all so much for being so warm and receptive and making me comfortable enough to tell it, because I really think everybody should have an open mind and to know that these things are really out there. And sometimes they're not in wooded areas.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was great talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
What an amazing interview. I will never forget narrating that. The first time I ever narrated her encounter, when I read it, I was like, wait, what? Where did it go? Where did it come from? Where's the driver? There's just so many questions and zero answers. Except if you really think about it, the only conclusion I can come to is portal. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you, and I'd like to thank you all for supporting the channel. It is your support that keeps the channel growing and going, and what gives people like Inquisitive a place to share their experiences and theories judgment-free, just treated with the respect that we all deserve. It's all because of you. Thank you. Please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, family, and friends. These creatures are real. They are out there and they are dangerous. Share this information with those you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Till next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth. God bless.